Join me as I dive into the nostalgia and try to find out what 90s kids miss the most. The 1990s were a unique time, filled with experiences that shaped an entire generation. It was a time of relative peace and prosperity, when the internet was still in its infancy, and cell phones were a rare sight. It was an era when kids could roam free, exploring their neighborhoods and making their own fun. And it's this freedom, this sense of adventure, that many 90s kids miss the most today. There's a certain nostalgia for the simple, carefree days of childhood, when our biggest worry was what game to play at recess, or what TV show to watch after school. We didn't have the constant bombardment of social media telling us what we should be doing or how we should be living our lives. We just lived freely and joyfully without the weight of adulthood hanging over us. This sense of freedom was also closely tied to the way we played. We didn't have the same level of parental oversight, so we were forced to use our imaginations, to create our own games and our own fun. We didn't need a screen to entertain us. We were entertained by the world around us. And it's this sense of imagination, this sense of creativity, that many 90s kids miss today. There's also a deep longing for the sense of community that we had back then. Neighborhoods were like small towns where everyone looked out for each other and kids could play together safely. We didn't have the same level of fear and mistrust that we have today, and so we were free to explore, to make mistakes, and to learn from those mistakes. We also had a very different relationship with technology. We didn't have the same level of access to information, so we had to use our brains, to think creatively, to problem solve. We didn't have the luxury of Google, so we had to rely on our own knowledge and experience to figure things out, and it's this sense of self-reliance, this sense of independence that many 90s kids miss today. Saturday mornings were a special time, when we'd wake up early, pour ourselves a bowl of sugary cereal, and plop ourselves down in front of the TV for a morning of cartoons. It was a time of pure joy, of escapism, of fantasy. We'd watch shows like Rugrats, Doug, and The Simpsons, laughing and crying and cheering along with our favorite characters. We also had a very different relationship with music and movies. We didn't have streaming services, so we had to rely on the radio, on MTV, and on physical media like CDs and VHS tapes. We'd spend hours making mixtapes, recording songs off the radio, and watching our favorite movies over and over again. It was a time of discovery, of exploration, of finding new artists and new genres. Toys were also a big part of our childhood, from Tamagotchis to Beanie Babies, from Pokemon cards to Game Boys. We didn't have the same level of sophistication, the same level of technology, so our toys were simpler, more basic, but still incredibly fun. I remember the excitement of going to Blockbuster on a Friday night, scanning the shelves for the latest releases, arguing with my parents over what movie to rent. It was a time of ritual, of tradition, of family bonding. And then there was the thrill of playing outside until dark, of exploring the neighborhood, of finding new adventures. The experience of being a 90s kid was a unique one, shaped by the cultural, social, and economic trends of the time. It was a time of relative innocence, of simplicity, of joy, and it's this sense of nostalgia, this sense of longing that defines many 90s kids today. So what 90s kids miss the most is the freedom, the creativity, the sense of community, the simplicity, and the joy of childhood. We miss the sense of adventure, the sense of discovery, the sense of imagination that defined our youth. And it's these things that we carry with us into adulthood, that shape our values, our priorities, and our sense of self. Thanks for taking this trip down memory lane with me. If you're a 90s kid, I'd love to hear about your favorite childhood memories in the comments below. And if you want to explore more 90s pop culture and trends, be sure to check out my next video.